Hi, I'm Val Hart in San Antonio, Texas, founder of Val Hart and Friends at valhart.com. Welcome to the Real Dr. Doolittle Show, the show for animals and the people who love them. I've been called a real-life Dr. Doolittle many times in my career as an expert animal communicator, behaviorist, pet psychic, and master healer. My mission and passion is to improve the lives of animals the world over by helping humans learn how to speak their language, how to understand their viewpoints, and heal. After all, our love of animals helps us be better humans, and the more balanced and healthy we are, the more balanced and healthy they can be too. Be sure and look for my CDs on iTunes. And to find out more about my work and to receive your free Quick Start Animal Talk course, just go to my website at valhart.com. While you're there for a limited time, you can also apply for a complimentary Happy Animal Assessment session. And if you want to learn how to be your own Dr. Doolittle, check out the world's first complete Animal Communication Made Easy system, available now on my website at valhart.com. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hi, this is Val Hart, the Real Dr. Doolittle, and today I'm talking with Michele McGarry. She's founder of Red Horse Equine Arts. Michele fell in love with horses at the tender age of 12, and in her career she's managed many horse breeding farms, and many of the young horses that she's trained have gone on to enjoy very successful and very strong show careers, earning many prizes in both reining, western pleasure, hunter under saddle, and jumping. Unfortunately, Michele also witnessed inhumane and unproductive treatment of horses in the name of training, and so she began to explore what we now call natural horsemanship. She spent many years studying and being licensed in holistic health care as well as somatic psychology, and from that she developed a unique philosophy and education in the art of horsemanship. Her goal is for riding to become a rewarding experience for the horse and the rider, a path of wisdom and discovery. She believes that her approach to horsemanship, yoga, and movement for equestrians is an essential piece that helps bring balance and harmony to the relationship between horse and human. Besides managing the Holistic Equine Training Center, Michele is a clinician and teacher, a barefoot trimmer, and a consultant for horses and their people. She's also one of the co-founders of the Holistic Horse Care Cooperative, now an international organization dedicated to honoring the horse and supporting holistic horse care practitioners of all types. You can find out more about her work at www.redhorsecenter.com. Michele, welcome to the show. I'm so delighted to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm really, really excited to be here and to share this information with all the interested listeners.
You got it,
really
yeah. So I have to ask you, the whole concept of yoga and movement for equestrians is, let's just say, a little different. How did you come up with this concept? What happened for you that married these two incredible concepts together?
Well, it's really a lifetime experiences that I had starting around 12 when I got into horses. As I got into the horse world and mainly the Western world, like quarter horses and stock horses, I discovered one type of environment, and then at home and on my own decisions and stuff, I got into vegetarianism and health and ecological issues, and what I found is that I was leading like two different lives, because in the Western world of horses, there's a lot of ranching and, raising cattle and everything, which totally was different than my vegetarian, holistic lifestyle that I was learning about and everything. And so for a long time I kind of felt like I lived in two different worlds, And but as time went on, I started to see how there was a lot of similarities between the two. if you look at them from the right perspective. And then I got, at the age 18, I got involved with martial arts and then yoga. And I had danced when I was younger, and when I was about 20, I got back into modern dance and more ethnic dances again, as I was when I was younger. And when you're doing that, there's a lot of, preparation for, when you warm up, different exercises. And I saw all these, similarities between the yoga and the movement that we use to get ready for dancing. And then as I did that, I was very fortunate to go to a college that it's called Naropa University, and it's a college that's mainly based on contemplative practices. So as you're doing these different practices to warm up for dance, let's say, or yoga, you're really looking inward to discover insight and what your body and your heart is telling you. And then I would leave there, and then I would go and put on my cowboy boots and my belt and my buckle and my jeans and ride, and I would hear other people giving instructions to their students and stuff that I knew just weren't physically possible without developing the right body skills and awareness. So I thought, I kept doing my yoga practice, and I saw how it would enhance my riding and my awareness of what I needed to do to respond to the horse better. And so I just thought, you know what, this is the perfect fit. This is so natural. It's so natural to take such a smooth transition to take this to what we're doing with riding. And then I noticed that, the energetic part or the emotional part, as yoga and movement, use breathing and different types of exercises like that to calm yourself down and get in touch with, your own energy and what you're bringing to your environment and those around you. And so I saw the change in the horses as I started to do this myself. And so I thought, I got to share this. I just love it too much. I got to share it.
Wow. I love that. It makes a lot of sense to me because, horses are very physical. They move, and we humans don't move so good sometimes. We get a little stuck. We become desk jockeys, and it's like we're not really in our body, and we're not really flowing and using our energy very well. So, and then we get with our horse, who is all about movement and being fully present and energy and stuff, and it's like a train wreck sometimes.
Yes. It's like trying to, put, for lack of a better example, like oil and vinegar together. You have this, hopefully if it's a healthy horse, it's very fluid and athletic and, is so natural to move and experience its whole body and not be afraid of any part of it.
Yes.
Or avoid any part of it, and then you might have a rider that comes in there kind of stressed out from being at their job all day, and or home, a house full of kids and chores and this and that, and you get all the mental activity, and it takes you out of your body. Yeah. And the horse is like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, really. Who are you again?
Why are you on my back? You need to, horses are really looking for that connection, whether you want to say energetically, emotionally, and then all of that, the basis of all of this and part of my training with the horses is that, horses are like masters of their body. I mean, you watch them move, and it's incredible what they do, and I think that's why we admire them so much. And, at one time it was, I think, a lot more natural for people to be more aware and masters of our own body before, our society got so busy and hectic and stuff. So it's like this is really giving people a chance to become aware and more of a, I don't know if I'd use the word master, but you're, going in that direction of, of your own body. And when you do that, then you can understand the horse. You can connect with the horse, and the horse wants to connect with you because they want a leader that is, very centered and in the now. And it just naturally kind of attracts the horses to the people, and the people seem to, and I know I seem to connect with the horses a lot deeper when I've done my practices ahead of time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I think you said something really brilliant. Horses want, a leader that's centered in the now, that's present, that's in the flow energetically, and that can connect at a deep level. And I know that a lot of us, we're actually disconnected from our own body. How can we connect with anybody else? It's like we're just so disconnected. So one of the benefits of playing with horses and animals in our life is that the opportunity is for us to center and to be fully present and to pay attention and to flow and be more consciously aware. And when we're in that space, we're actually able to connect at a really deep, fundamental, energetic level, and it makes so much sense. So this is really quite brilliant. So, Lauren Michele, what is the first thing that somebody needs to learn if they want to do this, they want to explore this and see how it works for them? What would be the first thing that you would want to teach them if you worked with them?
Well, one of the first things that I teach people is some basic breathing techniques and what natural breathing really is, because most of us have become kind of shallow breathers or breathing in some type of way that's like a reactive way to stress. And so in order to get in tune with all the different sensations and, movement that's constantly going on inside of our bodies, because, we tend to think of them as kind of static and like, this is my arm, this is my leg, and it's just that simple. And there's actually, you've got these fluids moving in cells and vitamins and minerals and chemical reactions, and, you have your emotions, like your brain is tied into all of that neurologically. And, if you really sit down and you want to get your mind quiet so that you can pick up on all this activity and information that's going on in your body, I find that the quickest way to get there is by learning a few basic breathing techniques that calm you and center you pretty quickly.
Wow.
That's the first thing that I really like to share with people.
Could you actually give us an example?
Sure. One would be what's just called Ujjayi breath in yoga, or in Sanskrit, that would be the proper word for it. And it's compared to the ocean, how the water comes in and flows back out. And so you think of your upper chest, your lower like rib cage, and your stomach, and you could think of it as a glass, and you're pouring water into the glass. So you would only be inhaling and exhaling through the nose, and you slowly inhale. And as you inhale and that air comes in, you can picture that like a cup being filled with water. So it goes down all the way to your pelvis, and you breathe in and let your stomach relax and open up. You breathe into that and then fill all the way up. And you can count. A lot of times after we explain that, we suggest that you count, say, to 5 or 7, so that you slowly breathe in to a count of 5 or 7, and then you hold for 1 or 2 seconds, and then you exhale, and it's kind of like pouring the cup out where the water is, comes from the top all the way down, empties all the way down to the bottom. And doing that for just like a few minutes and really focusing on that just makes a huge change. So that's one breathing exercise. We have another one that we often use that you actually use. You close off one side of your nose or one nostril, and you breathe in through the right, and then exhale through the left, and breathe in through the left, and exhale through the right. And what's really wonderful about that is it balances both the left and the right side of the brain.
Wow.
It's really powerful because it gets people out of the, the right side of the brain that we're kind of always, we tend to be stuck in a lot of times as we go throughout our day. And balances the two, and when you change your neurological system like that, or through a physical exercise, like we have some physical exercises that can do the same thing, you find a lot more capacity to learn and to feel your whole body, and not just like your dominant sides or your favorite sides or patterns to use.
That's really brilliant. I love that. It makes so much sense to me, and I know, and I'm actually going to invite our listener to pause the recording. If you're listening to a recording, pause it and actually do that exercise. So take a note how you feel right now. Pause, do the exercises, the Lajaya breath, right, and then the nostril breathing, the right and left side, and then see how you feel afterwards and see what's different. So I know those are very powerful exercises. I actually want to do that right now myself, but I'm going to wait until we finish today. So we'll do that. Thanks. I love that. So when someone's doing their breath work and they begin to do the movements, the way you teach them, I'm really curious, how do the horses respond when someone's doing this?
Well, it's really interesting. The horses seem to love it.
Really?
Most horses, if they haven't tuned people out too much, if they've had like an overboard of humans for a while, they tend to pick up like the switch, and some of them will be very interested because I think that they, even from afar, they can feel the energetic shift in the person, and they're often, my experience has been that they're often very interested in it, like what's going on over there? Wait a second, let me go check this out. And so sometimes myself, and I'll tell people if they're in a safe environment and it's an appropriate environment, go out in the pasture and do some of this, even if you're sitting on a stump or whatever, or if you want to do some of the movement exercises, we create most of them that are standing or, where you can support yourself with like a fence rail or something, so they're appropriate for the barn. And the horses will come over, they'll stop grazing, and usually one will come first, and they come over and are like just kind of sticking their nose around you like, what are you doing? What's going on? And so it's really interesting that way. That's like the first response that that I often see as far as when they're at liberty. But when you're riding them, or even when you're handling them on the ground, a lot of times that you see the common reactions that are signs of release of stress or them relaxing. Like if you take a deep breath, they will go, kind of a horsey sigh, out. We've all heard it if we've been around them. Sometimes they will lick and chew, like when you're training them and, they grasp the concept of something and they lick and they chew. A lot of times they do that because, my own thoughts is that they are learning that they can interact, they can relax and interact with you on a different level, a different mental frame of mind than they have before.
Okay.
So, which is really great. I mean, it just leads to so many other awesome things that come out of it that I could go on and on. But you know, that's some of the first things that you notice. And when you're riding, you're actually moving. You know, you see freedom of movement. You see relaxed movement. You see less resistance, you know, in their back or their neck or to the bit or to any pressure if you're not riding with a bit or, you know, things like that. As you relax, they relax and become more natural in their movement.
Oh, that's a really interesting point. Horses, they're such incredible athletes to be able to carry what a lot of us unbalanced riders, you know, we're not even hardly in our body, you know, sometimes, and it does affect their movement. It affects the way they balance themselves and with us on them. It affects how they're able to move or not move, you know, or the difficulties that they have in locomoting. And so when we're in balance and when we're in sync, when we're in flow, when we're fully present and we're relaxed, and, you know, then the resistance drops away and they can move naturally, which is really, so brilliant. I mean, that's how beautiful. Lauren, Michele, tell us a story. I want to hear a story. Can you think of an example of someone that's been able to transform themselves and their horse, perhaps?
There's so many. I have to say, actually, an interesting experience that just happened last night as we're getting ready to do some recording, some video recording to make our DVD. I'm working with a young lady that has a Morgan, and she rides him hunt seat, and she's a very good rider, but she has some challenges at the trot and the canter, and him getting kind of fast and her losing her balance, and she came out to ride one of my horses, who is the way I train my horses is to be listen a lot to body cues, so you won't see as much rein activity, and you won't see, like, there's no spurs, and you won't see a whole lot of kicking. It's, you know, through weight shifts and cues like that. And I had shared with her before she got on, this mare that she was going to ride of mine was a Western Pleasure. Well, she's actually an all-around horse, but she was going to ride her Western Pleasure. And so she has this nice, slow little jog. And this young girl, hadn't ridden anything like that before. And so she was kind of braced and ready for, like, this fast trot to just start off right off the bat. And as I talked her through the instructions ahead of time and gave her some of the examples that we use in the movement exercises, she got the idea. What I gave her the idea is basically to kind of focus on her spine and her hips, and allowing them to be very, very loose, and thinking of, like, her hips as like a teeter-totter, and her spine is kind of like a pearl necklace, you know, that you're dangling at the top. You know, it's going to, if you held it out, if there's a wind, you know, that comes along, it's going to move it in a very flowing way. And so then I asked her to go ahead and start, give the horse the cue to trot, and she did. And Luna's the mare's name, and she was pretty good. After a while, she started to get a little faster and a little faster and a little faster. And as I gave her, you know, these directions to connect her to her body, and how, you know, any places she was, like, holding, you know, restricting her movement, And I encouraged her to just really let it go, like almost think of yourself as like a rag doll, in your hips, in your stomach, and when you go to, also when you go to stop, my horses like stop on, they stop when you say, whoa, it happens right away, and you have to be relaxed into it. Otherwise, you kind of get tossed forward a bit. And when I did this, she had never been on a Western pleasure horse before, and when I did this, she found that the horse, like, the more she did it, the more the horse slowed down, the more her stride lengthened, and she's a good enough rider that she can be aware of the stride lengthening and but still slowing down. And by, within about 15 minutes, we stopped, and she looked at me and was like, she said, wow, that was so awesome. Like, I like this Western pleasure stuff. Not that that's the only thing that we do, but, what she had was, it wouldn't have mattered if it was Western or if it was hunt seat or any other type of riding. Right. It was that she was really getting her body in connection with and timing and rhythm of the movement of the horse. And that makes the horse happy. And so, when you're happy, you relax more, and it just is a, cyclic, let's see if I can say that again, right?
They're connected.
Yes, they're definitely connected.
Exactly.
And they feed off each other, and she just was so impressed by it. And I feel like it kind of opened up her mind to, there's this other way of riding instead of like fighting the horse and putting a martingale on it and putting a bigger bit or more severe bit, that if I actually like work with my body, that I can work with the horse and it's going to respond to me in this really, willing way. And that was just, and we worked together a little bit more last night, and she had one of those wow movements, and it was really fun because some local kids had just come over to the barn because they wanted to see some horses, and they saw us doing this, and they joined in. So we just had an impromptu, like, about 6 people that just joined in us doing some yoga and movement right in between the barns, and everybody was just going, wow, oh, there's the tight spots, and those are the out spots, and it's just, that's one of those things that are really great, especially when it's someone as dedicated as I see this young girl being, because she's really gonna, she's gonna affect a lot of horses' lives. That's a really good thing.
I love that. You said something I really love too, and that's that when we have happy horses and we're connected and working with them through our own body and the language of energy and flow and through movement, then our horses can respond to us willingly and happily. And by the way, remember that horses are always responding to us, and if they're responding because we're tense and fighting, we get what we put out. If we're putting out tension and stress and fighting and, and force and resistance and stuff, what choice does our horse or even another person have? That's how they have to respond to us. That's what we're putting out. And so when we shift, they can shift. And it becomes a flow, and the timing and rhythm gets better. And I love this whole thing about, when you're tense, our horses usually go faster, or they get tenser too. And then when we relax and, and just let it flow, then they can slow and they can be more in tune, and, they don't have to be as reactive and, in a bad way, and we can relax too. Oh, I love it. Oh, yay!
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. You start doing it, and it's hard not to get excited about it.
Yeah, it is exciting. So what programs do you have for people?
Well, we related specifically to the yoga, or that we have at Red Horse Center.
Well, we're talking about yoga. So what how could someone get started with yoga? And I'm glad you said that you do have other things at redhorsecenter.com. But tell us how someone would get started with yoga if they wanted to try that.
Well, the first way I have to admit we're a little behind on our yoga page as we're working on some other, an e-site actually, but where you will be able to get the DVD once we get that done. But right now you can just go to www.redhorsecenter.com, and when you come to the homepage, it'll bring you right to the homepage. There'll be a link to the yoga and movement for equestrians. Okay. And there is a downloadable form that shows some of the basic exercises that we often teach people in the beginning, and they're real easy to understand, I think. And you'll appreciate my drawing, which is very talented. It's stick figures, but I think you can get the point from. I think they're good stick figures.
Oh, good stick figures. Okay, well that's important. Okay,
and it'll give you some directions with each one, just some simple directions, and that's a great place to start. We'll also have you'll see some clips on the website for either it'll link you to YouTube of us practicing just some demonstrations of some of the different practices, and also a clip that will be actually on the DVD, so you can really get a taste for what that will be about, and the clip that we'll use, I think, is a really wonderful one because it gives you a little before and after of a rider with some challenges before using some of the exercises, and then after, and you see the change in the horse and the whole picture, and it's really, really beautiful. So you can do, that would be the starting place, and then you can enter in your email address, and if you choose to be on the email list, and we will send out updates on any new material we have out, and then when we release the DVD. So that's I think that would be a great place to start. And of course, if you go to the library, just getting some good yoga books always just helpful to learn a little bit wherever you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think just helping people expand their thinking so they can connect the concept of yoga and movement will help. We'll begin to take them down that path. And I love that you're creating the starter kit for yoga and equestrians. So go to www.redhorsecenter.com and check out Lauren Michele McGarry and her work. Very, very cool. Thanks, Lauren. Thank you so much for your time today, for sharing your heart with us, your life's work and your passion, and, of course, your love for horses. I know you help make our world a better place, and I'm delighted at what you're doing. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, and I very much appreciate your work that you do. I think it's just incredible.
Thanks.
So keep doing it, and I look forward to hearing from the listeners, too.
You bet. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again, and I'm looking forward to hearing what else you get up to. So keep it up. Bye.